the fact that the Busch Light media team needs a farmer panel to bounce things off of before they release it.
Put me on that.
Yeah,
Right. I bet you would have people lined up
100%.
as a volunteer board.
They have been hitting it out of the park in the marketing department up until this point. And I don't know that I think it might be one of them situations where bad press is good press because it got them talking about them. But yeah, we have shirts that came out that have an ear of corn on top of the corn stalk.
Oh, this is a good one. An extra $100 bill. I didn't even think about that.
They make extras?
Well, in that case.
Thank you for listening to the Farm4Fun podcast, a happy hour spinoff of the Farm for Profit podcast. These episodes are hosted by Tanner Winteroff, the Iowa Bankerman, David Whitaker, the Iowa Land Guy, and a random farmer named Corey. Each episode, they plan to focus on a brewery or distillery while talking about all current events and everything else. Crack a beer, mix a drink, and join in on the fun. Remember, if you aren't farming for fun, we know you probably don't have any blue shop towels in your pickup.
Welcome back to the socially distanced Farm for Fun podcast, the Mullet of Ag podcast. This is Corey Hillebo, the farmer.
This is David Whitaker, the auctioneer and realtor.
And this is Tanner Winterhoff, the banker. We're all here from Central Iowa recording another Farm for Fun show. This is going to be a good one. We have an in-studio guest today, so you mentioned socially distant. That's just us around the table, but really fun and exciting to not be staring at a TV screen and see what we can come up with today. You guys ready for this?
Yeah, Tanner, you're going to pop your cherry here.
Yeah, we'll see if I can give your introductions a run for the money. Let's see what we have to play today. How's this hitting, Corey?
Kurt? Who?
Kurt?
I like it. Little Ozzy. Let's go.
All right, we've got Brady Smith, the original. He's a sixth-generation farmer operating a corn, soybean, hay, and cattle operation near Emerson, Iowa. That's the southwest corner of the state. He's married to his wife, Melissa, has a daughter named Sawyer, and now lives at the home place of his family farm. But he hasn't always been there. Graduated from Iowa State in 2005 and then worked in the ag industry for 6 years before coming home and returning to that family farm. He enjoys reflecting on his experiences while running their diversified family farming operation, which not only farms but includes an on-farm feed store and a custom farming and haying business. Welcome, Mr. Smith.
Woo! Glad to be here, guys. Appreciate the invite and glad I could make it in studio.
So northwest Iowa, you said?
Southwest.
Southwest. All right. I misheard that by all the
We're off to
music
a rocky start today.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Southwest. And did I hear feed store as well?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Prior to farming full-time, I worked for a company called New Balance Commodities in southwest Iowa. We were broker and byproduct out of ethanol plants, and it was a natural transition. I'd always had cows and enjoyed selling cattle products, so I have an on-farm feed store, primarily focusing on cattle, but it's a nice fit with the farm.
Gotcha.
Oh, my
we
goodness.
are getting into that already.
Getting into it.
Okay.
Well, he's already our favorite guest because you guys should see the size of the cooler
That he brought with.
Brady brought for us to try.
If you didn't like my personality, I was going to bring you plenty of beer, boys.
There you go.
So what are we trying here? What'd you bring us today, Brady?
There's a local brewery. Actually, that's how I got in touch with you guys. Corey reached out. There's a great brewery in Glenwood, Iowa called Keg Creek Brewing. Started, honestly, 4 home brewers, a bunch of retired guys, and it grew into quite a business. They have a heck of a tasting room down there. They're brewing almost 11,000 gallon of beer a week, I believe. Whoa. They got huge distribution, but all their beers, they are brewing them themselves, and they do a great job. So I thought you guys would enjoy it.
I can't even wrap my head around 11,000 gallons. That is probably two semi-fulls of beer.
Let me see that can. He's got all kinds of colorful cans here. And Midwest Haze is what we're going to try here first. Keg Creek Brewing, Midwest Haze. Have you tried this before?
I have. They have several IPAs. My favorites are No Paddle, but this is one of their most popular IPAs is the Midwest Haze.
Smacks you in the nose.
And it's a juicy IPA using Iowa and Nebraska hops along with hop hash to intensify I don't know that I can pronounce this correct, but the citrusy notes that are in the beer. Great any time of the year. What do you guys think? Smooth, balanced, juicy hop,
that's right.
character, unfiltered, hazy. What do you think?
Now, in past podcasts, one of you is an IPA guy. Who is it?
Tanner
Okay,
and I
Tanner's
both
the
kinda
IPA
like,
guy.
yeah, this is good. This I could get the citrusy. It's a good IPA.
It's almost like a combination of an IPA and a Blue Moon.
Ooh.
A little bit of the
with that
citrusy
citrus.
factor with the IPA finish.
Did I see
Yeah.
hemp seed on the side of that, David?
I didn't see it, but I think you might be right.
Right on the back. right on
Indian
the back
Pale
of the top.
Ale with hemp seeds.
Yeah.
So not only are the hops from Iowa or Nebraska,
Yeah.
we've got hemp seeds in this, and it tastes really good.
And it's a local brewery from Glenwood.
Absolutely. For the win, Midwest Haze.
Yeah.
That's good. I like the can. It's colorful, but yet it's not crazy.
Not crazy.
Yeah.
Simple.
Huh. Well, guys, I think we should start while we're having our conversation and just recognize the fact that it is 9/11 today, and 19 years, which seems crazy long ago.
Right.
The Twin Towers came down this morning in New York City, and United States was attacked. So I guess I'll make a poll out there to recognize the 343 firefighters that died, having been a previous firefighter. But yeah, where were you guys? What were you doing that day?
I remember waiting for the bus, standing in our living room, and my mom had the TV on because I got picked up between like that 8:05, 8:10. I was the last farm to get on the bus. We're about 2 miles away from the school, so it was one of the last stops before they got us. And I remember watching the first tower fall on TV, and then I just remember the entire rest of the day in school, we did nothing. So I was young enough to where didn't really sink in, but we did absolutely nothing as kids. The TVs were on in every single classroom. That's back when they had the tube TVs on the top of the rolly cart, and you'd roll them back and forth from room to room.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the memory that I have of the day, is the fact that I watched the first one fall on TV from our living room, and then the rest of the day was basically spent watching a TV in one of the classrooms at school.
Pretty amazing. Brady, what were you?
Vividly remember freshman year at Iowa State, and I was getting ready to leave for an 8 o'clock class just a hair late, and a kid I lived with said, Twin Towers just got hit by an airplane, and said, what? I didn't even go to class, and campus was dead that day. Everybody was parked, and their TVs are just unbelievable. Vividly remember that. Matter of fact, my wife and I were talking about it on the way up. That today's 9/11. It's just unbelievable. Remember it like it's yesterday.
I can't
That's
believe 19 years. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
But
I saw the first one hit at home and hopped on the bus. And at that point, we just thought it was a mistake. We didn't know it was a terrorist attack yet. Just thought, who the heck would accidentally fly a plane into there? And then, got to school, and then the second one hit, and then it was, obviously a terrorist attack.
yeah, I want to say Facebook was filled this morning with, at least all my social media platforms, more than past years. Do you think people are more this year because of COVID, America, election year? Lots of questions here. I saw more today about 9/11 than I think I've seen in years past.
I don't have a very good memory of the years past, but I do feel like the tenor of Twitter changed today. It's a more positive responses. There's a lot more sharing and liking, and those "we're all in this together" type posting.
I agree with that, and I think we need that, though. With everything, everything we see every day now, for something that tragic to happen and people to take the good out of it, and the police officers and the firefighters and everything else. The one thing I know for certain is from that day forward, I was a freshman at college and could have cared less about news, politics, or anything else. You paid attention a lot more after that happened. When there's a direct strike to our country, it's like I was 18 years old at the time, and you just paid attention a little more because it's just something you're never going to forget. That's a big event in United States history.
That was a turning point in my life that, like you said, I never paid attention to any of that stuff when that was on the TV. And then after the fact, it just turned my life around, and I still can't watch or hear clips from that day without feeling, just that tingling in my body.
Agree 100%.
I think it's interesting that the same kids that were being born 19 years ago got screwed over by COVID this year. So they got double whammied, I guess, if you will.
I hadn't even thought of that. I mean, one of the things that I've really enjoyed about that is all the documentaries, all the stories that came out of this, the History Channel, all the TV shows. I really immersed myself into it because it's really the first major event that I lived through that I could remember my own perspective and then get the perspectives of others. And one of the fun stories that I enjoy about this is the conversation that President Bush had with Derek Jeter before throwing the first pitch out. I just think that's a really cool exchange, how, a superstar athlete cared about his country. The president didn't want to let his country down either, and it was just throwing a baseball from the pitcher's mound to home plate. But how much effort and it wasn't staged, but just the amount of preparation that went into making sure that event had a positive effect on the country.
He said, you better not throw at the bottom of the mound.
Yeah.
And you
don't,
better not bounce
Don't bounce it.
Right. Well, you're still seeing the back windows of cars. Never forget. It's crazy. 19 years later.
Yeah, we need some of that unity with what's been going on in the world. I just think we need to get some of that back. And so I think that might have a little bit of why we're seeing a heavier presence of it.
Sure. Going back to the intro to jump topics on us, Brady. So I don't know if you caught it, but I said Brady Smith, the original, because I don't have a clue how you got the Twitter handle Brady Smith without having to do a number, a slash, spell it wrong.
So I'm not millennial, right? I'm right before it. People say the same thing. My email address is bradysmith@gmail, and everyone goes, how'd you get that?
Right.
Google at the time just came out with Gmail when I was in college, and you had to be invited to get Gmail. You remember that?
Yeah.
And so instantly I'm like, Brady Smith at Gmail. And it was within 3 months I signed up for Twitter, and I was not active on Twitter at all for a lot of years. Did the Facebook thing. It came out when I was in college. I've gone away from Facebook, but I got re-engaged in Twitter. But yeah, at Brady Smith was available. So
you're essentially one of the OGs.
One of the OGs. Because I can't.
Right.
We couldn't even get Farm4Profit on Twitter. We have to add our LLC at the end of it because it was already taken by somebody else.
I think I got 3 or 4 Brady Smiths that follow me on Twitter now. So it's kind of crazy.
I was just floored, so I had to throw that. The OG.
They're just kind of like, I see you.
I appreciate it.
Brady Smith,
appreciate
the OG.
Brady Smith 01. Okay.
I see it, Brady Smith.
So obviously, listener, that's how if you want to go follow him, because we're going to flood him with new followers. It's at Brady Smith. It's
Yes, sir. That's it.
Brady Smith.
I see you sell at the feed store. You sell some of the U.S. flag net wrap?
I do. And you had prior guest, I know, doing the same thing. It's kind of funny how I got set up doing that. I saw it. It might have been on Twitter somewhere. I just saw a picture of it. So I started doing digging where you could get the stuff. Talked to a guy in South Oklahoma. Said, here's the guy you have to talk to. Called him, and he's like, I am so stinking far behind. So I just kept calling him. I was like, look, I will move this stuff, man. I got a forklift and a feed store. I got a baler too. Let's get it. And he did. Got me a couple of pallets, and it was perfect because a lot of it was, I wish I would have had it before because I got it right before the 4th of July, 3 days before the 4th. But yeah, it's kind of neat. We tie up all this hay in Iowa, just we'll have a flag on it, right? Especially fitting today with 9/11.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So did you sell out this summer?
I did, actually. I'm waiting on more. It's distribution deal. They want you to take a whole bunch of it and things like that. But I'm going to try to keep handling it because it's really quality net wrap and it's priced right. And guys seem to like it.
Yeah.
So that feed store, we've heard Corey's opinion on how hard it is to sell seed. What's it like running a feed store with, farmers that compete against you right next to you, coming to buy supplies from you, getting new customers? How did the feed store get started, and what's it like running it?
So prior to working at New Balance Commodities, where I brokered byproduct, I was a district sales manager for a seed corn company. And even when you have a feed store, seed corn companies will beat down your door, hey, you're selling, you got a forklift and concrete floors, sell it.
Yep.
And I tell them all the time, you know what, guys? Cattle run out of feed weekly, monthly, every 2 weeks, and they need more. You get one shot a year to sell seed corn, and it is such a service-based business to me anymore. I said, I will be doing you disjustice. I will not do it justice to go out and sell it, because there's so much more service with the seed corn. So the feed store, honestly, I wasn't pleased with the product I was being offered. So I went out, found what I wanted, called the rep and said, hey, I want to sell this stuff for you. It's good product. Right. And that's where it all started.
How long ago did you guys start the feed store?
Started the first crop I put in full time on my own was in 2011, and it was that same fall. We finished our shop in 10, so we had a big concrete floor and a forklift. You just well put stuff in there and sell it. So I started it in 11 as well.
Okay.
And I had a good customer base to go after. I deliver feed. I have cows, so it's a nice natural fit, really.
Right.
So is it a lot of bagged stuff, or is it a lot of bulk, or
primarily tubs and mineral? The company I worked for before, I still handle bulk, but I don't have to own trucks. I don't have to handle any of it on farm. I take orders and take care of the logistics with a couple different companies on the bulk side, but primarily bag. I got dog food, cat food, everything.
So you're not doing the custom mixes or grinding
I
corn or anything like that?
worked with 2 different nutritionists where they'll do nutrition work for me and I can sell balancers, but no, I don't
Yeah.
have a stinger truck and I'm not doing that.
Have you got into the birdseed industry?
Not yet, no.
So I talked to Des Moines Feed and Grain once in a while. Their big thing, their big money deal is homing pigeons.
Really?
And they have a custom blend of feed because they have $1 million races for homing pigeons.
Yes.
And so they're putting like antioxidant, like purple corn and all this crazy stuff and doing these crazy mixes and it's high dollar stuff because these people have these pigeons that could make them $1 million if they win the race. So I was just like, when I was in their warehouse a couple years ago, I was just mind blown that was mostly their business. Yeah, they do the dog food and the horses and all that other stuff.
At Tyson's over here, I asked them what their, some people say Tyson's is what I call it.
Mm-hmm.
They said their number one seller here in Ames anyway is pet food, seed, feed, all of that, which I would have thought it would have been construction tools or something else. And then, of course, we have Brecky Seed and Feed right outside of town. They've been around for a long, long time before we were born, all of us, and they do a ton of business, but they don't mix anything. But a lot of that is for pets.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I
And
mean,
it's no secret. I mean, there's zero margin in feed, so you got to move a fair amount to make it work because you're trying to feed livestock, everything else cheap. That it's tough business, but I like it.
oh, there's another one.
Sounds good.
What do you got next?
So just so you know, reminder to you listeners, this is from Keg Creek out of Glenwood, Iowa. They are a small town brewery with hometown feel. They started as home brewers, and they haven't ever forgotten that background. So their history is to take pride on open and comfortable environments to enhance craft beer education, enjoyment, and experimentation. And they provided us with a ton of great beer to try today.
Yeah, we're not even going to try all of the ones that Brady brought us, so we're only doing 4 today. I knew these guys a few years ago because I knew them as one of the first people to brew an aronia berry beer.
Right.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if they were the first or not, but one of the first that I found out. And so I still have yet to try one, and I don't think Brady brought me one today.
In all the podcasts, I don't think I've ever told you guys what I'm going to name my beer. Have I told you that yet?
I didn't know you liked beer enough.
I'd like the profit margin that beer could bring. And so I want to name my beer responsibly because then every other advertiser will advertise my beer. So Budweiser, drink responsibly. They're advertising my beer every time. So
You can't give away your secret.
Keg Creek, drink responsibly. Hey, they're promoting my beer. So like every commercial I'm going to win, I'm going to call mine responsibly.
Marketing.
I'm not so sure they don't have a aronia berries growing right next to the brewery. I'm almost certain they do. They're trying the aronia berry thing right around their tasting room down in Glenwood.
Okay, cool. So this, we're drinking Oktoberfest here. This is a blue and white can in a diamond checker. What would you call that?
I'd call that a Churchill Downs.
Churchill Downs. Yeah, it kind of looks like horse racing.
Kind of like horse racing jockey style.
Yep, it's a Marzen style lager. So when you're thinking Oktoberfest, you kind of have that golden amber kind of darker look to it. It looks like it. So let's give it a try. Malt forward, easy drinking, perfect for fall.
Very smooth.
Yeah.
I get the malt forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of details on the can about the taste, but it's good beer.
It is.
It's going
I
to
actually like this
test your skills. What are you coming up with for a taste? I almost got a little caramel.
We're not skilled.
EBT put us to the test, and we came through with flying colors.
Yeah, it's got no like hoppiness like an IPA. It's just a little bit heavier than your average beer and
Might
good
take
flavor.
malty at the beginning with a super smooth finish. Very smooth finish.
A little heavier, you said. Keep cold. Yep. Mm-hmm. Please recycle. It says on the can. 6% alcohol says that too. It's kind of neat. It says independent craft, and it's got an upside down bottle on the side. I haven't seen that logo where it's upside down.
That's cool. Can we even recycle right now?
I don't know.
Has anyone found a place to take cans back to? There's a can shortage.
Hy-Vee I have, and I've put them in the little round hole.
So they are
thing.
taking them.
I was going to say that the local high school in our town has they must find somewhere to take them because that's the only place I found where you donate them. You know, you can't go recycle. Local recycling in town, they aren't taking them.
Well, who was it? Was it Coors Light that was complaining about aluminum shortage? And maybe that had something to do more with trade than it did
That's a good point.
responsibility.
I remember
or
seeing a post
taking
about
the
it.
Responsibility. Yeah, now the responsibility is in
Drink-
my head.
drink responsibly.
Dang it.
Yeah, see, that is the name of our beer for the podcast or something. So, So you're on Twitter.
Yes, sir.
You know these guys on Twitter. What do you have? A lot of you've heard our podcast before, which is awesome. Is there other podcasts you listen to? What's your favorite?
I listen to a lot of different podcasts. I got the Bluetooth transmitter, TuneIn 171. You can listen to stuff on your phone. When I was planting corn, I got hooked on podcast. I'm a big history buff, Legends of the American West, stuff like that. The story of the OK Corral and Jesse James and some stuff like that I listen to. I listen to several ag podcasts just across the board, whatever tickles my fancy that day. But yeah, got on Farm for Profit. Just enjoyed listening to you guys. I like the Fun Friday deal, and
Yeah.
it's I'll listen to about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're in the tractor during spring and fall, there's some long hours of, you hear the same song 3 or 4 different times. And
Oh, our local ag radio, it's Groundhog Day. The
Yeah.
same program, same time, every day. It's Groundhog Day. So it's nice with the podcast. If you're sick of podcasts, you can listen to Tyler Childers or whatever
Yeah.
and get up the road.
yeah, it sounds like my Pandora list.
So what are some of your favorites, Corey? Podcasts outside of Farm for Profit?
In the farm industry?
Anything. Well, just favorite. If someone's listening to us, I'm sure they're listening to other podcasts. So I'd be curious if we could put a little list together for them.
I listen to Chip Flory every day.
Me too. Same.
Yep.
AgriTalk's a good one, no
AgriTalk,
matter
yeah,
what.
on AgriTalk. I mean, I don't know if that's considered. That's kind of closer to a radio
Radio,
show
right?
than it is. But it is. I listen to it in a podcast form because I listen to it when I can listen. I'll listen to Sharky when I'm busy in the field or trucking long hours.
Same.
Seems like when I get on a Shark Farmer, it's more of a binge. I let episodes roll right into the next one, then the next one,
Yep.
then the next one. And then I'll go a little while without catching one and kind of do the same thing.
I've started listening to Ag State of Mind, and Jason does a really good job.
Yep, I like that
I
one
haven't
too.
listened to that one yet. I need to tune into that one.
I would let Jared. He had Jared McDaniel on this week, and it was really good. Really good.
I have a couple business building podcasts I listen to, and there's one called Fast Talking Podcast for auctioneers. So if you're not in the agriculture world, and
Okay,
you want to learn,
let's go there. What about non-ag?
you
ones?
want to be.
What are a couple other business ones? You know the names off the top of your head, Dave?
I don't. I one is just it's savvy something business savvy podcast. I think is what it is.
No business, no ag. I'll listen to Dax Shepard.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
He has some great interviews, and a little bit of him goes a long way, but he has some great interviews that when you're starting to get tired or whatnot, tune in because he's entertaining, swears a lot.
Yep.
It's a good one.
So I listen to a lot of Pat McAfee.
Yep.
I don't as much anymore, but that's when I started wanting to do a podcast. I really, really enjoyed his setup. It was him and Wheeler Walker Jr.,
Oh
which
man.
is not PC.
One of my favorites is Mike Rowe and The Way I Heard It.
Yeah, that's good.
100%.
So it's, they're all 10 to 15 minutes, super fast. I wish they'd come out more often than they do, but it's a really quick one to pop in if I'm running from here to Ames.
He's such a solid guy.
Yep. I also like Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. I wasn't a fan of Conan O'Brien when he had his TV show, but
He's good.
he's more interviewing other comedians, so it's fun to more get entertained by the guests.
And I
than it is
skipped through
himself.
it because if you don't like one of Conan's, because there are several I didn't, but
Yeah.
you catch good ones now and then, and he's
Yes.
a good interview,
Joe Rogan, if you got about 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, man.
That's tough. Those are tough ones, but he's got some good stuff
But
on there.
it's the same way. You get 30 minutes into a guest, and you can just skip on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yep, or you get lost in the middle. You're like, what am I listening to? And click next.
So do you got one that you would be embarrassed to say on here?
I was just scrolling right now. I'm trying to.
I
come
listen
up-
to one on,
I got
on
one.
YouTube that's Hiking with Kevin Nealon, where
Yeah.
he interviews all the they go on hikes and he just brings a selfie stick with him.
Yep.
And he interviews with random questions that are not typical interview questions of celebrities. It's Hiking with Kevin Nealon, but it's a
Just
YouTube deal. I don't
completely
know.
random.
Kevin Nealon, he was in Happy Gilmore, right?
I think so.
That's all I think about is
Yep.
him because he's the calming guy to Happy Gilmore. That's what I think of when I think of Kevin Nealon.
So mine that I would be a little embarrassed if someone caught me listening to it is a Barstool
Oh,
one. Call her daddy.
call her.
Dude, that's terrible. Yeah. Oh,
I
man, come on.
cannot listen to it very much.
Yeah.
Once in a while, the voices, their tones or their pitch is
You
just
put that
so
on, and then you look
annoying.
around to make sure nobody else is watching as you listen to it. I know it.
But god dang it is so funny.
I mean, I've never considered myself the serial podcast guy, but if I was to be embarrassed about anything, it'd be the serial podcast that I've binged.
Yep.
A couple about bank robbery, and a couple about some murder mystery, that kind of stuff. But every once in a while, it's nice just to check out, just to not have a business builder, a leadership motivation, or a profitability, something hard at it, and just go to something that lets your mind wander, relax, and take a break.
So the last one that I'll tell you is a good friend of mine. He's from Sydney, Iowa. He does sound production for rodeos. I'm involved with the Omaha rodeo, but he does sound production. With the COVID, they canceled all these rodeos, everything else. Him and a bullfighter, his name's Justin Rumford, have a podcast called Rump Chat, and you don't have to like rodeo at all. They're just hysterical. So that's one I listen to all the time.
I really like that. That reminded me of a conversation I had with my wife. I remember taking her to a rodeo when we first met and telling her that I always wanted to be a rodeo clown, and she never believed me for 1 second, and she'll still laugh at this when she hears it because there's no way I could be a rodeo clown. I do a little bit envious of the role that they have because they look like they're having a blast, and they always seem to be really funny.
Right.
I got one more, Vance Crow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He's got good stuff there. So
And he's just a good speaker.
Yeah.
I mean, someone who has a lot more talent than probably all of us combined sitting behind a microphone.
Oh, yeah.
And puts together a really good show. So, Corey, we've seen your pictures, as we're drinking beer here, your pictures of the Busch Light Wrap on your combine.
yeah.
And what caught social media a little bit off guard this week is the fact that the Busch Light media team needs a farmer panel to bounce things off of before they release it.
Put me on that.
Yeah, they
Right. I bet you would have people lined up
100%.
as a volunteer board.
They have been hitting it out of the park in the marketing department up until this point. And I don't know that I think it might be one of them situations where bad press is good press because it got them talking about them. But yeah, we have shirts that came out that have an ear of corn on top of the corn stalk.
Yeah. Now, it makes me wonder, is that a test plot corn stalk? You know how you guys have your test plots, you pull the ear, you peel the shucks back,
Oh, yeah.
and then you cut the top off for about 6, 7, 8 plants back, and
Yeah.
that's, as a display. Maybe someone just caught the wrong picture.
No, that's marketing degree from living in the middle of St. Louis, thinking that's where an ear of corn is grown.
There's no giving the benefit of the doubt.
Come on.
So I'm looking at the picture you got provided and that went around Twitter, and all of the ears are on top of the stalks.
Yep.
I have a shirt that came with the combine that has this marketing on it, but it's a lot bigger picture with some mountains in the background and stuff. And some of the plants have little tassels that come up and go around them. But
You've been to a
They
plot tour,
tried.
Corey, where you're standing at the end, they take the tops out, and the ears are literally the top of the plant things. They take the tops out. Maybe that's what they're after. Maybe that plant's
that's
really
what-
only
that's what
like
Tanner
4
was
or 5
saying.
foot tall.
yeah, I mean, they tried. I think the shirt's still pretty cool. Myself, I have one. I mean, and I put it out there last night that I was wearing it, and there was a lot of other people like, yeah, I need to get one of those. So
I thought Andy Pastor had a good
it
response.
was good.
He put a comment in there like, Gerald from marketing, who's been getting all these huge raises, just got fired.
Get me Gerald.
Just got canned.
Yeah, Gerald, you're fired.
Karen from the marketing department.
Yeah.
Karen. We'll just label it Karen.
Yeah.
Doggone.
So no, I'm just happy to be here with you guys because I've been out of society for last couple weeks.
Out and down for the count.
Yeah, I am. I'm Corey Hillebo, and I got COVID.
Oh my.
I had it.
Had it.
So yeah.
Okay, so how did that go?
It wasn't great,
And you
but
didn't
it
die.
wasn't terrible. I didn't die. Actually, several people from my family got it, and no one has been hospitalized.
Thankfully.
It was a bad cold, I would say, and the worst part about it was how it lingered around. And I'm
so
still
worth canceling school and shutting down society and killing small business.
I know
or
that's too small of a sample size. I think I will say this: I could feel so my symptoms were fever, dizziness. I had a lot of brain fog. Actually, when I recorded with Tanner last week on the Derecho number 2, I could tell I had a lot of brain fog because that was like peak symptoms. But I will say I could feel the severity in my chest when I started coughing, that if this kept going deeper and I wasn't, my lower 30s and I had something else going on, like I could see where it would be a problem. So, I mean, it is real. The worst part is you got to sit at home and do nothing and not spread it around, and you're handcuffed for a couple weeks, and it.
So did you stay with family or a camper? Or
so I actually
in the shop
somehow I caught my symptoms coming on, and I went out to the couch right away, and went and got tested that morning. Did a rapid test, and came back positive within 30 minutes, and told my wife, and they made her leave work and go get tested right away, and my wife and kids actually stayed negative. And I went and stayed in a camper at the farm. So I have not even seen them yet. This is my first day back in society.
So literally, I'm the one keeping you from seeing your wife and kids.
Well, they're at daycare and work, but that's where I'm going after this. And yeah, thank God, because my wife's got type 1 diabetes, and I got a 6-month-old and a 4-year-old at home. So, I mean, they don't need that stuff. So she's been a trooper.
Well, we're happy to hear that you have come out of this just fine. I mean, I talked to you a couple of times. Like you said, we remotely recorded the Dracho Part 2, the updated episode, and you had mentioned that, the fever, the chills, the body temperature and thing was probably the biggest difference from a regular deal.
Yeah, there was 4 or 5 days I didn't do anything, but I stayed in the camper and watched TV and recorded podcasts with Tanner and listened to other podcasts, and I think it was probably about 5 or 6 days ago where I actually started feeling like I could go do something, and I would go work on the combine or the grain cart or something in the shop. And at first it was 20, 30 minutes of work, and then it was 20, 30 minutes of rest, and, still get pretty tired pretty easy, but I'm coming out of it now. And the beer tastes amazing. I did lose my sense of taste for a couple days, and that was the worst.
Speaking of,
I'm in the face.
I'm not blessed. I'm not blessed with when people get stressed, they don't eat. When people get sick, they don't eat. I still had my appetite even when I lost my sense of taste. I was like, I still want to eat something. I want to stay strong. So I might be the only person that probably gained weight on.
And yes, for you podcast listener that's keeping track, I did just shoot myself into glasses with this third beer. I have now gone 0 for 7 on beer episodes without getting shot somewhere.
This can looks interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. So one thing that I saw on Twitter, of all places for you, Brady, was that you've got plans this weekend to go visit the Farmall Museum in Iowa or something along those lines. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. Jerry Mez owns it. He used to own the international dealership in Avoca. And on Smith Farms, we are all international. The place is 45 minutes from my house, and I've never been there. Well, they're closing down September 27th, and he's auctioning off the entire museum. And I've wanted to go forever, so when we decided to come up and do the in-studio, I brought my wife and daughter. We have family in Des Moines. We're staying there. I said, hey, you know what? Saturday morning on our way home, they close at the end of the month. Let's wheel in there and tour the Farmall Land USA Museum. It's incredible. He's had some of the last of production in there. He's had everything in there that, I look forward to going and touring around that on the way home.
So are you a Farmall case guy on the farm?
Yeah, so our family history on that, my great-grandfather was all green. He had a 40-20. He's out plowing with a 40-20. My grandpa came home from the service, asked Grandpa if he could borrow his 40-20 and plow to go plow his. Yep. Great-grandpa told him no. Grandpa went out and bought an 806 and could plow circles around that 40-20. So ever since then, we've been all red. My great-grandpa wouldn't speak to my grandpa for 2 weeks after that.
That's awesome.
So back to beer. Keg Creek Brewing, again out of Glenwood.
This is a good one, guys.
This I just think I already like because of the name of the beer. I don't think it's going to be Dave's favorite, but I don't want to, like a kid, tell him before he tastes it. But this is called Kashmir Kush.
Kush.
That sounds like not beer. That sounds like something coming out of Colorado.
Double Indian Pale Ale. So it's a double IPA, again with hemp seeds.
Oh. And it's got purple flowers on it?
I was going to say. It's got the Kush. The Kush.
Local favorite for the IPA drinkers. They're a big fan of the Kashmir Kush.
Oh, yeah. It's another IPA, but it's not a crazy over-the-top hop.
Similar to the Mystic Land, our double IPA displays magical, almost euphoric aroma with notes of mellow tropical flavors. Enjoy the journey.
Tropical flavors.
Smooth bitterness, dank strawberry notes, earthy background.
I think they're trying to spin off the little something from Colorado. Cashmere Kush,
Cashmere
dank.
Kush.
I mean, it.
What's the top of the can say right there in the blue?
The top of the can says CA 5 cent. No,
No,
THC percentage.
hop off the mainstream.
Oh, there
That's
we go.
their
Hop
logo.
off the mainstream.
Yep. And Keg Creek Brewery got their name because Keg Creek is the name of the creek that runs through the town of Glenwood.
That's
Huh.
cool.
8.8 alcohol by volume
Oh,
for the
Yeah,
Kush.
you don't have very many of those, boys.
yeah. No, efficient.
Right.
Oh,
Dave, did you already give your review?
I didn't give my review yet. I definitely like the middle one that we drank better than this one. It was way smoother, but I'm not a hoppy.
Not an IPA
A lot
guy.
of people think I'm hopped up on caffeine, but not.
so
Hoppy
Brady, you said you don't sell seed because you can't service it, but yet you have another side business that you told me that it helps you farm. What is that?
I do. I started with Big Iron Auction Company as an independent sales rep. It's really flexible. My job is to go out and list machinery. Their back office part's all taken care of. It's all on the iPad. I go out, and if the guys want to list a piece of machinery, I do all the pictures. I get the description from the guy, do all the legwork, and put it on there for them. It's been a good opportunity. They're a good company out of Nebraska, and they're flexible with the time. You know, time's the biggest thing I don't have. I wish days were twice as long, but to help support the farm, support a bad farming habit, you got to get some side gigs.
So I'm assuming that's all. Is that all? Is that a salary job? But do you get
It's
commission?
not 100% commission.
Okay.
100% commission.
So
based.
you're actively trying to get people to sell their equipment.
Yeah, I am.
Or do people just call you?
I'm pretty fortunate in the area I'm in. Guys have had exposure to Big Iron. That a lot of it is repeat customers, and it's some pounding down doors and doing that, but a lot of it's built-in business. It's more service-based and selling. Do a good job representing the guy's equipment, and the rest comes with you like any other line of work. But they've been a really good company to work with.
So Dave, do you guys butt heads?
We probably are competition, but any competition is good. There, I
was
tell you.
just going to say, Big Iron is definitely second to Whitaker Marketing.
Well, for sure. But no, it's crazy that the software has come so far, guys, that especially with COVID, of all the platforms that are out there, and it's funny that most of the biggest platforms are out of Nebraska. So there's two major ones out of Lincoln, and Big Iron's out of Nebraska as well. And so some of the major auction companies for the Midwest for moving equipment have really increased since COVID. Like the largest numbers they've ever seen, the largest amount of bidders. We're teaching people how to buy equipment online, and it forced them to do it. So now there's a lot of equipment hitting the market right now too. At the end of the year, everybody wants to know for taxes, so they're moving.
Yeah, and the one thing we've noticed a lot, just hand down to me, is the amount of new registered bidders every week because they went to an online platform. I have a close friend who has his own auction business, and there is nothing better than the live cry at a farm auction, you know.
Yep.
But it's incredible how much this stuff's going online, and just live auction companies, they found a way to go to a market to do it online because you have to. It's just the way of the future. I sold a hay mower that was 25 years old. They loaded it on a 16-foot car trailer, and it went all the way to Belize.
Yep.
I mean, it's just unbelievable how big the reach is on any online auction platform.
I sold a skid steer today right before we came, and it went to Kansas. And so, yeah, opening up to a bigger market, competitive bidding brings higher prices, and that's the fiduciary responsibility of the auction company, is to make the most money for the seller. So that's where all those systems are changing, and I kind of hate it because I'm the live bid caller, so I want to do it live. But I did book another one today that is going to be live. Wait for details.
There's going to be a home for that forever, though. There's a home for that live auction.
It's just so much stuff. We can't get it all online. So
Absolutely.
It's had to, even when you do it live, you guys are always having online, right?
not
Seems like-
always, but now they are. It's called simulcast, where they're simultaneously broadcasting it, the live bid call out to everybody else.
If
So
I'm selling my farm, I want not just everyone that within 50, 60 miles to buy stuff. I want the whole country or the whole world. So I would assume that that's getting you guys higher prices.
Definitely. And since COVID, the National Auctioneers Association said that everything has gone up. Like all the fellow auctioneers I talk with, prices are good right now. Low interest rates, It's crazy.
And they are strong. Obviously in the machinery market, there's stuff that'll be soft, but it's unbelievable how strong it is with everything that the world's going through right now. It's very surprising.
What are you pouring here, Tanner?
That's a good question. I didn't have a top to pop because this one's in a glass bottle. This is the Tyrant of Darkness.
Oh, boy.
From Keg Creek Brewing. Remember, they're out of Glenwood. This is a rye imperial stout ale aged in Heaven Hill bourbon barrels.
Okay, so it's aged in bourbon barrels. We've had some of this before, kind of.
Wait, it's like you're carrying around a 40 there. We need to get you the picture of that 40 for the social media.
This is a eat a porterhouse and have a beer after supper type beer.
Yeah.
Beer after supper.
So
beer.
this reminds me of when we did that other episode.
This
Yeah.
this is
Pretty strong, guys. Good. It's got a smell to it,
I
too.
should try it first, shouldn't I?
It's got
Let me try
like, it smells like A1.
Oh, it is. It smacks you in the nose and the mouth.
Oh, my.
You let it try again, Dave.
Yeah, right.
I can't put my tongue on it.
So bad. It's so good to be bad. What does the bottle look like? Show me that. It's got like a map on the front, plat map.
It looks like it's off a pirate ship.
I love the bottle, but let me tell you, you got to like beer for this one. Barrel Age Series.
Wow,
Tyrant.
I just took my first drink, and this is. Sorry to interrupt you, but I like this. I'm getting
You like it?
I'm getting all kinds of flavors out of this. I'm almost getting.
This is a sip.
You can taste the bourbon out of the barrel for sure.
You can taste
Absolutely.
the smoke, the
Yep.
bourbon,
Yep.
the charness. I almost got a little bit of a chocolate note. I mean, it is. And I'm going to interrupt again, Dave. Well, I'm still interrupting, so I guess that works. I should be taking pictures because all I've seen out the garage door of our studio here is what I can imagine to be 10 to 14-year-old kids running on the bike trail. Now,
Yep.
Iowa weather, we've been getting rain the last 4 days. It's been a pretty miserable week to be outside. Low 50s, high 40s, and all these kids are running by watching us drink Keg Creek in here, and the smiles on their face are just huge. And I bet the smiles on our face right back are just as big. So go ahead, describe the bottle. Dave.
All right. A beer so big it took 2 mashes to fill the kettle. This Imperial is complex with fruity hops, roasted with rich malts and the spice of rye. Heaven Hill bourbon barrels and vanilla honey
That's
tones.
the vanilla. That's not chocolate.
There's
It's
some
vanilla,
honey in there
right.
too. While molasses adds the extra layer. So you're
Holy
getting the molasses.
smokes.
This is like feed straight out of a feed store.
Smells like a sweet
like molasses.
Smells like a sweet feed. That's what it is.
That's what it is. A sweet feed.
I don't know how I'm going to edit that. We all just talked at the same time. That's how good this is.
11.04 ABV.
Yeah.
You can have the rest of that, dude.
Yeah.
Knock you on
You know,
your-
I don't. Yeah, I totally get why Dave doesn't enjoy this. This is something that I could almost serve over ice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you put one of those whiskey balls or a couple of cubes in a glass and have this, and you drink it almost like a bourbon.
See, I don't have a sweet tooth in the world. This is get done with supper, and I would go to that and see you in the morning.
That would be
Night,
another
night.
good place to put this. We have never, so thank you, Brady,
Yeah.
and to Keg Creek. We have never tried something like this before.
This
No,
is-
good.
we haven't.
This is the first time we've had
Something.
anything like this. So
Randy and the guys
I
will be
can't say-
glad to hear it.
I can't say that I've had a beer like this. I haven't tried a ton, but I have been to all the local, from B-dubs to, Chicago, old Chicago, all of them, and I've never tasted anything like this.
because
So,
we've had a dark beer.
Yeah.
You know, the last one we just tried, Alluvial, had a dark beer that was more of a coffee aroma.
Yeah.
And a coffee flavor, and I described it as used motor oil. This looks like there's still some life left in it.
Right.
If you were to drain this out of the motor, you would maybe be a little disappointed that you didn't run a little bit longer.
And I believe Randy, one of the guys at Keg Creek, this is going to be a competition beer for them. These guys, they hit every craft beer thing. They're support of the industry. They're at the craft beer tent at the Iowa State Fair. They do it all. But yeah, this is going to be competition beer for them.
One of the coolest things that I saw on their website when Corey told me that you guys were coming up here and bringing this beer is that they are a certified Iowa Green brewery. And I had to look up what that even meant. It just means that they've demonstrated commitment to sustainability and the environment in order to get this award. So it's not like they're making beer sustainable, but they're conscious of the environment as they're putting this together. And judging by the local ingredients, the inclusion of hemp, the flavors that we're tasting and the fact that they're promoting this thing locally. I could see where it wouldn't take them very much to get a local certification on being a green brewery.
Yep, and they're a tremendous group of guys. They support the local community a lot, and their distribution's been great because their beer's good. And yeah, they're a good business to have in a small town, and they do a great job.
I think this Imperial Stout is the most flavorful, full profile of beer I've ever had.
Yeah, I'm going to pour more. I really enjoy this one. I know, Dave, it's not your cup of tea, but
You can't drink it fast. But
no, and I did.
I don't like tea either, but Red Bull now. Now would
With
be
some
a mis-
Tito's.
There was some Tito's. You're right.
every episode.
I take it he's listened. So, since you've listened before, do you remember the question that we ask every guest before we sign off?
No, I should, but I probably don't.
Well, to prep you before we get done with this thing, we're going to ask you what you think the common traits are amongst the most successful farmers. So just be thinking about that. We'll give you a little cheat time here to figure that out. But one thing that I kind of did some self-reflection on that I saw a couple weeks back was a post again on Twitter. I know you guys think I probably don't do anything in my life except for watch social media, but I get a lot of good information off there. Sean Tyson, Mount Pulaski, Illinois, at Sean P. Tyson put out a post saying basically a simple question. What do you keep in your truck no matter what? What are things that you have in your truck always? If you clean it out, what stays in it?
It's like one of our top 10 episodes when we started, Tanner.
We should have.
Like, what are the top 10 things to keep in your truck or in your combine?
So okay, you two are active farmers. Dave and I just play one on TV. What do you guys keep in your truck? What is something that you couldn't live without in your truck?
I always got pliers in the side door, and I always got a pistol.
See, people give me a hard time all the time because I'm a young farmer. Pliers don't leave my hip. I wear them all the time, every day, man.
Yeah.
And I think as I was raised that way, my dad always had them on, and people said my legs were barely long enough. My pliers were dragging the ground. I keep pliers on me. I always keep a light in the truck, no matter what. You got to have a flashlight in your pickup,
Good,
no matter
a
what.
good one.
You
Yes,
mentioned
good LED, man.
The pliers on your hip. I had never carried pliers until I met my in-laws, and they're the same thing. They never leave their hip. But what my brother-in-law got me, and probably one of the best gifts I've ever gotten, is a pliers holder that also has a spot for a mini crescent wrench.
Yep.
I use that mini crescent more than I use the pliers.
See, and I don't know. It's terrible. I judge guys because there are guys, and I make fun of them. They weld a 9/16 on one side of their plier handle and a 1/2 inch on the other. I'm like, oh, come on, you rednecks. You're ruining pliers, but might not be a terrible idea.
No, I do. I use that thing way more often than I use the pliers.
But
What-
in the back, under the back seat, always got ratchet straps. Always got a blanket, maybe some mismatched pairs of gloves.
I always have something to drink. And it might be water, it might be beer, it might be something else, but there's always some liquid in my pickup.
And we're up here in flatland country. We always have a rope in our pickup, too, because you never know.
Yeah,
That's true.
See, I have totally different stuff.
chain in the
A
back.
cell phone charger, an extra cell phone charger, a drone battery charger, an inverter because I might need to charge a computer, might need to charge a something
Right.
in the truck.
Right?
But in the back of the truck, not in the truck, yeah, I'd have a ratchet strap and maybe some small tools. But
Yep, I always have that. I always have a toolbox that's got the hammer, the pliers, the mini pipe wrench, things like that go along with me. I'm trying to think of what else, because the knife's always in my pocket. The pliers are always on my belt. Well, some of the responses that he got that we haven't mentioned yet are gloves, a trauma kit. Oh, this is a good one. An extra $100 bill. I didn't even think about that. Have
They
an
make
extra,
extras?
well, in that case, pay the whole car.
Deodorant.
that was
Gotta have some
Ooh.
deodorant.
I do have that
you
in my
go.
truck.
Yeah.
Deodorant, well, blue shop towels.
Oh,
Blue shop towels, yeah, that
definitely. Some
goes
toilet
without
paper,
saying.
some blue shop towels.
You know what I have in my truck now that I never used to? Extra masks.
Oh,
Oh,
I went somewhere the other day. I'm like, crap, I don't have a mask.
hand
And
sanitizer?
our town here, you have to have it. And
Yeah.
so I start looking at my center console. Yes, I saved an extra or two in there.
that's actually a really good point because I did that the other day. I had one for me and was scrounging around the pickup trying to find one for my daughter
Yep.
because she's got to wear one in there too. I wasn't going to leave her sitting in the truck by herself.
Hashtag 2020.
well, one last thing before we ask Brady. Did you guys see the markets today?
Beans are up the limit, weren't they?
Yeah, at least in the front month. Yeah, the WASD report came out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was actually in line with expectations. And I think that was the biggest bullish thing that could happen is that we came out.
Well, this is the
Close
first
to what was-
report that they actually go out in the field, correct? Am I wrong on that?
I can't back that up.
I don't have anything to back that up. So, listener, if he's wrong, make sure you let us know.
Let us know. But I'm pretty sure that this is the first report where they actually go in the field, look at the crops, and then make their predictions based on that.
They took 550,000 acres off for the derecho of corn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nothing on the beans.
Which that's to be determined. I mean, I don't know how you cannot. Yeah, that's probably because you can't gauge yet.
Tell you what, driving from Southwest Iowa, which I'm a half hour from Missouri, half hour from Nebraska, all the way up here today. I mean, we were dry where we're at. And I thought we were going to have a corn crop. It really did. Guys are already combining some beans that are a little light out there. But you get to Des Moines, it's not so bad. You start getting north and see what happened with derecho and everything else. I'm kind of bullish corn right now until we start getting into this crop.
Welcome to backyarditis that we've had.
I was just going to say, one of the things that I've talked, I got a lot of marketing people that chat with me and try to give perspective, and that's exactly the terminology that they use, is you got to look outside of your backyard, and you have to realize that there are still other states, other counties, other areas that are growing. Now, we're taking something out of the heart of corn country.
It sucks because it is the central part of Iowa. That is where we grow corn.
And a lot of it.
Yeah. That's what we do.
An absolute ton of it. Yeah.
It's on the ground, and it's been wet for 4 straight days.
But that's why I'm
Never
bullish.
dried off.
I don't care about the amount of volume. It's just the amount that has to come out yet. We haven't even hardly gotten to a harvest that I don't think the crop's out there that everyone thinks there is.
My insurance adjuster texted me today because we don't have anything zeroed out with our enterprise units, but it's like, how do you think the quality is? Have you looked at any corn? I said, well, I'm going to wait until it dries up so I can walk in the fields. Right. But he's worried about it.
And you don't want to affect your corn with Corona.
No.
I shouldn't have
corn
left it
Corona
as much as I did.
Yeah, that's definitely getting rejected.
That's funny. No, that's pretty good.
So did you think of what the most successful trait that all farmers or the most successful people have?
You cannot put a finger on that. You can't. Because what I think about is 10 years ago when I started farming and you're a young kid trying to get going. Patience is a virtue, and any old guy will tell you that, but it's so true for the young guy wanting to get started. I'd say the one thing that all top producers have is persistence and perseverance. You find out a way to make it work. You don't feed into the doom and gloom. You figure out a way to grow a business and farm successfully. There's just no way around it. That if you're a successful producer, the hard part about farming compared to any other business is you got to know your numbers side and you got to be good at putting a crop in the ground. You know what I mean? You got to be good at it all the way around. So to me, all successful producers don't over leverage themselves or take unnecessary risk. It's all small risk to continue to grow a business or maintain a good business. That'd be my take on it.
And I liked your persistence word, because whether it's in learning something new, it's, the ability to stick with it and not get frustrated because it is brand new, and the first times that you fail, the fact that you only get a limited number of crops, but you still do it. And I think in our derecho episodes, one of the biggest keys that I took out of that is hope, that we always go into each planting season thinking we're going to plant our best crop ever.
Yep. And there's one thing the only other thing I'd add to that, surround yourself with quality people.
Yeah.
From, I don't care if it's the guy you buy gas from, to your insurance agent, to your banker, surround yourself with like-minded people that want you to succeed.
Yep, that advisory team. No, I am 100% on board with that comment.
Oh, we're back to a Farm for Profit episode here.
Oh, it all circles around. You can't have fun if you're not having. Yeah. We'll just
Mull it a podcast. Mull it a podcast.
Throw the business in the front, and we'll have a little bit of fun here too. So thank you, Brady. This was a pleasure. This was a ton of fun. Thank you, Keg Creek. This was fantastic. We have more than we can consume on a podcast. We're going to continue to. This was a very pleasant experience. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. And I would like to plug that this is probably the last beer that we're going to get ourselves for probably through harvest.
Yep.
Doll Distributing is going to help us out and line some stuff up. And then we're going to do a little mini series with possibly some musicians.
That's correct. So if you, listener, have a connection to anybody that can strum a guitar, has a beautiful singing voice, somebody that would have interest in getting a little bit of exposure, we know everybody in the ag world is going to get really busy. So we thought about doing a little mini series here. We're not going to cancel Farm for Fun. We're still going to stick with you. We'll put something in your ears every Monday, but we'll see if we can get a little bit of musical entertainment going. Still staying ag related on the discussion, but throw even more fun into these Farm for Fun shows.
I think it's just going to be great.
I appreciate the time, guys. Hope it's not the last.
Yeah.
No, you're welcome back anytime. Thank you
If
again,
you guys,
Brady.
listeners, want a beer that'll rock your world, Tyrant of Darkness, Keg Creek Brewing.
I'm going to chalk it up as my favorite. Let's do it. We haven't done the round the room yet. I think the Tyrant is my favorite out of all of these. Could I drink a 12-pack? No. But I have never had a flavor like that before. What do you think, Corey?
I can't go with that one. I respect that beer. I respect the crap out of that beer. And I will drink some more of it with you because that is, I cannot talk enough about that beer, but my favorite, I love this Cashmere Kush Double IPA. Just the can, the name, everything. I liked them all.
And I'm all a fan of the Oktoberfest. Just a smooth old beer that'll go down with anything.
So we might not have tried your favorite. You've had probably all of their beers, Brady. Which is your favorite out of the whole brewery?
I tried a lot, but when I go to the tasting room, they have a no paddle IPA they keep on tap all the time. It was their original IPA, and it's still my favorite. I actually have one in the cooler, so you can try that
Just
one too.
one.
Fantastic. Well,
No paddle. Is that like are you up a creek without a paddle? Is that what that?
And the name's great too.
Yeah.
You have
Keg
no
Creek.
paddle.
Yep.
You literally are. That's fantastic. Listeners, I hope you had a fun time. We had a blast. Again, if you want to be a part of this or know someone that does, Farm4Profit LLC at gmail.com. Until next time, have a great one. And Corey?
Crack a cold one. Mix a drink. You deserve it.
Remember, if you aren't farming for profit, you won't be farming for long.